Listen closely, because what you are about to hear isn't just a story. It's not a poem. It's not a dream. It's a truth that lived behind my eyes for years. Yes, I was born a prince, but love didn't care. It didn't knock politely on the palace gate. It came like a storm, silent, soft, unstoppable. This story, it's mine, but maybe, just maybe it's yours too. If you have ever loved someone you couldn't touch, couldn't have, but couldn't let go, then you will understand me. This isn't about royalty. This is about heartache, about standing in front of the world and still only wishing to stand besides her, besides your love. So don't just watch, feel. Because in this next 2 consecutive parts, which are about to upload today, and by tomorrow, you will see the moment I had to choose between the crown on my head and the girl who owned my heart. When love challenges a kingdom, he could have the world, but he wanted her. This love story is too deep for one day. That is why there will be 2 parts, today and tomorrow. Don't miss what happens when silence finally speaks, because sometimes the second half holds the real truth. Watch both, feel the full story, let your heart decide. Thank you for watching. Moon whispers, love, he couldn't speak. A royal heart, a silent vow, a love not meant to whisper, but to echo across centuries. This is the story they never told, of a prince whose heart turned bold, not in battle, not in throne, but where the soul stands all alone. He wore the world like tailor's silk, a lion's case, a heart of milk. His name was carved in skies and stone, yet in love's code he knelt unknown. The stars had danced upon his birth. A crown adored him, not by word of wealth or war, but quiet might that whispered softer than the night. He rode through fame, a storm of cheers, but kept his secrets close for years. And what he held, no soul could seek. A love the moon alone could speak. For she was not of palace tread, nor royal blood, no crown, no head. She walked where wild flowers grew, her soul a dawn, her word like dew. Her hands were silk, her breath a prayer, with kindness falling from her hair. The prince would see, then look away, afraid his eyes might start to see that heaven lived behind her glance, a stillness lost in fleeting chance, and through the world would not allow. He longed to place her in his vow. The coach spoke loud and counseled clear. She must not ever venture near, but silence held him like a flame. For love, not rule, had carved her name. She did not know her reign begin. The moment she first touched his hand, a moment brief, a bright so light, yet shock the stars from out the night. She smiled, and time forgot its race. He saw 1,000 dreams and plays, but she, the poor sweet thing he would know, walked unaware. He called her home. Her laugh could bloom a dying tree. Her eyes held ocean, wild and free. She moved like morning, soft and new, in every step a prayer come true. But she too humble to believe that such a prince could truly crave for common bread, for touch so plain, could never sense his velvet pain. So he would write when stars would fall, the moonlight he would tell it all, not ink, but sigh upon the breeze. He would whisper love through olive trees. He watched her from the shadows veil, a lion held behind a tail, and do a throne lay at his feet. His heart bowed low when hers would beat. The royal halls, the jeweled gold, could never match what he wished told. But tongues of gold, unlaced with pride, and whispered love, must learn to hide. He would ride alone when dusk would sigh beneath the amber painted sky. A falcon soaring at his side, a secret lover in disguise. His horse would gallop through the sand, yet all he sought was not the land, but every lane she used to walk, each corner where he saw her talk. The desert knew his muted ache, the stars would arch his silence break. He would whisper truth he couldn't fear, to speak aloud while she stood there. For how could royalty confess that love had left him depressed? Really? A prince yet prisoner to the fear that she might smile but disappear. She smiled at life, so unaware that someone watched her every prayer. She danced with light and sang with rain, and yet she healed the prince's pain. She never asked for palace, never asked for a crown. She never dreamt of diamond, but kindness clogged her like a flame that burned through every whispered name. He would see the royal come and go, with gowns and grace in royal show, but none had stirred his soul to flight. But none had stirred his soul to flight the way she did in silent night. She was not made of courts or crowns, but of the earth, of humble downs, of jasmine leaves and soft moon tea, of truth, of tears, of melody. Yet he feared her fragile grace would shattered in his royal space. For glass heart freaked with just one lie, and kingdoms bright with watching eyes. He would ride by moon in endless score, the 1,000 verses from his soul. Yet, when he saw her, words would flee, his tongue of bird, with no degree. There was a garden in the south, where lilies bloomed with jasmine mouth, and there she came with gentle grace, and he would watch, yet hide his face behind the trees. He would often wait, afraid to twist and hands of fate, for once revealed what then would be. Would she still smile or cease to see him? She hummed a song. He would come to know its echo, kissed in evening glow. He would shut his eyes and breathe it in, a melody beneath his skin. She fed the words, she spoke to trees, she bowed to twins and danced with breeze. She wore no jewels, no silken thread, but bloomed like roses, like newly spread. He saw her kindness touch a child, a daughter rise so soft and wide. He felt the weight of every sigh, and laughter, had laughter soft and wild, of wanting her, yet passing by. His fingers longed to hold her hand, but kings are bound by old command, in hearts like his. When, crowned too young, are taught to bite their poet tongue, he would train in war, and speak in court, yet all his thoughts would still fall short. He would nod and smite as noble spoke, but love had tried and tied him in its yoke. She was not one the love would crown, for she was raised in simple town, and yet inside he saw her worth more than all jewels upon the earth. Wow, he dreamt of talking with her all night. He dreamt of her taking off the weight of royal lame, of guarded kid, to live a life where they could be not prince and girl, but simply we. At night, he would climb the palace tower and speak to stars in quiet hour. "Oh Mole," he would say, "you see her too? You drink the light she passes through. Tell me, is love a traitor pot? If love is a traitor spot, if it defies the kingdom's what, if I must choose my heart or throne, then let me stand, but not alone." A council meet with polished shoes, when marble echoed heavy news. "Your Highness," spoke the elder voice, "Your Highness, Your Highness, it's time to make a kingdom choose. It's time to make a kingdom's choice. Princes come from noble blood, with royal ties in ancient flood. The time has passed for dreams and art. The crown must rule your beating heart." He smiled, but sometime something cracked within, like glass that hid a sound. stormed violin. They spoke of treaties, golden land. He only thought about her hand. He noted boat and walk away, but left his soul inside that day. A silent rebel, calm in guise, with thunder buried in his eyes. He stood before his chamber glass and saw not prince, but boy, alas, a boy who dreamt of simple thing, of walks and rain in garden swings. He took a pen, the royal seal, and wrote the truth. He could not kneel. My heart has wandered from its throne and found a world that feels like home. He sealed a note, then thought again. Could he survive the court's disdain? Could she survive the eyes that pray? The eyes, the press, the power, the royal lie? That's the real question. Still, love pressed forward like a tide. No matter how he tried to hide, he dreamt of her in silken white, a wedding lost to royal rite. That night, he walked beneath the stars. That night, he walked beneath the stars, where moonlight softened play spars. His guards stayed back. They knew the pace. The prince now wore a stranger's face. He reached the square where fountains wept, where once she sat and pigeons slept. And there she came in shawl and crease, the moonlight dancing on her face. He stepped ahead, then paused with two. His courage trembled like the dew. She looked his way, then looked beyond, unknowing of his heart's respond. A whisper rose inside his chest. Speak now, or lose what you love best. But silence held him still once more. A lion, quite to the core. She turned her eyes a quiet lake, and something stirred that made her ache. For though he bowed and passed her by, she felt a sorry in his sigh. She would seen that case in fleeting glance, a warmth that begged for just one chance. And though he bore the world's command, he longed to ask, do you still stand? She watched him vanish into night, like dreams that flee the morning night and the morning light. And in her heart, a whisper of you. Could royalty be reaching you? She brushed the thought like dust away. For simple hearts don't dream that way, where something deep began to stir each time the world would mention her. For gossip travels perilous wall, more swift than wind through marble halls. And one day, near the chamber door, she heard her name in whispered voice. She is kind, they said, but far too plain. A rose that blossomed outside the chain, the prince must read, a queen of state, not some small cur of humble fate. Yet hearts are flames that smoke denies, and love survive in silent skies. The prince stood tall, with worlds withheld, but in this chest the thunder swelled. One noble asked him in the court, "Have you no bride to yet report?" He smiled, a calmness in his breath. Not all who love must race to death. They loved, unsure what he had meant, but sensed beneath a firm descent. For love had made him something new, a man who bowed to none but true. Meanwhile, the girl began to write a poem born from dream at night. She penned the words she could not share, of eyes that watched her unaware. A prince in cloak, a moon in bloom, a fleeting scent of royal plume. She sealed the note and let it lie between her books beneath the sky. She did not know it found its way not in the hands of dusking day. A sermon read, then told another, and soon it reached the prince's brother. Oh my God! Now eyes began to sharply scan the prince, the girl, the secret plan. The court grew tense, the palace stirred. A storm awoke in every word. But to it all, the prince stayed tall and still, a mountain shaped by iron will. His silence roared, his glance declared, no law could kill the love he bared. Are you still with him in his silence?
Part 2 drops tomorrow. Don't miss the storm after the whisper. Until then, tell me, which line touched your heart the most? Thank you for watching.